What makes a great English teacher? I talked to Nicola Pollock, an English teacher who specializes in teaching professionals in the pharmaceuticals industry how to level up their English for their life and career. Nicola's really interesting. I love her English teaching business. She went into a lot of detail about how she got started and how she markets herself and how she creates a really great service that only she can do. So I hope you enjoyed the interview. Check it out.
Cool. All right. So just go ahead and give me a quick introduction. Who are you and what do you do?
Right. Okay. Yep. Hi, Harry. My name is Nicola Pollock, and I'm an English language coach and soon to be accredited as a neuro language coach. I've just finished training for this. And I'm the owner of NP Teach, which is the company that I've recently set up, working predominantly with professionals in the pharmaceutical industry and helping them with their English communication skills with at the moment, it's a 10-week advanced communication skills program for medical affairs.
Great. Now you said you've been teaching for 17 years, right?
It's actually nearer 20 now. So yeah. I think perhaps one thing that you read, maybe it was 17. So yes, it's getting on for 20 now. So yes, I've been in Italy for, I think it'll be 18 years this year. And I was in Austria for a year before that. And well, I did start with some teaching in England before I did the CELTA course in London. So yeah, quite a few years now, you could say.
Yeah, you've been all over the place.
Yes. Yeah. I was planning to continue, actually. I came to Italy thinking that perhaps I'd go to a few other countries, but I'm still here. So, but however, now that I'm online, I do feel like I'm reaching all parts of the world, which is an amazing possibility to be able to do this.
Oh yeah, for sure. So how did you get started with you said you just got your certification and I'm sorry if I'm going to botch you said it's neuro language?
Yes, I've just completed the training, and actually I am hopefully due to receive the certification in this period. So yes, neuro language coaching, which was with Rachel Palin, who does this. It's accredited by the ICF, so yes, it will be an accredited certification. Okay. Yes, fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
And this is your program?
No, this was an extra training, but my program, I'm hoping to sort of combine both of them actually. No, sorry, my program is something I've been working on for the last 2 years, which is really an advanced communication skills program for people in medical affairs. So in the pharmaceutical world. Yes, this is just quite an advanced program to help people reach their goals hopefully in the most effective way possible.
How'd you get started with that? Like how'd you get started working your own teaching program?
Right. Yes. But this is what I've been doing for a bit longer than the neuro language coaching is a more recent idea. But this I really started when I came across somebody called James Liu, who I believe you've heard of. And he has this 21-day challenge, which is something that sets you up with the idea of niche teaching, which is absolutely amazing. For many years, I was a general English teacher and working in a local private language school. So teaching all ages, all levels, different exams, the IELTS, Cambridge, etc. And then things were really coming to an end there. And it was more or less when, the pandemic started. And then I came across, or James came across me, I'm not sure which way round, how it was. And I decided to give it a go, try this 21-day challenge, which really, really was incredible to help me set up on my own. And I haven't looked back since.
Fantastic. So what do you think makes you so valuable to your students then?
Well, I would say definitely the fact that we can really focus on, if we're as a niche teacher, you can really focus on their needs in their specific field. And as somebody told me, a client who I finished with only a couple of days ago, she told me actually she felt, which was a great compliment, but she said she felt totally comfortable and confident working with someone who really has a knowledge of her field and her everyday, her role, her needs at work, which is a great compliment, because at the beginning, I must say I had a bit of imposter syndrome because I had no background in the medical field. But being able to work with these people in the same field, I have learned so much from them, and learning where they really do have problems with their English communication or presentation skills has helped me to put together this program that's specifically for their needs, which is something is very difficult to do, I think, when you're still working with as a general English teacher.
Yeah. What do you think is missing from, you said you work, your niche is in pharmaceuticals.
Yes, that's right.
So when it comes to pharmaceutical professionals who are in need of English lessons, what do you think is missing in this industry? And what would happen like if you just up and stopped doing this? What do you think would be missing from this industry?
Well, I believe it's linked again to this idea that perhaps in the general English or business English courses and programs, I know because I spent many years doing this as well and going to different companies, multinationals or small companies, I never really got to understand what goes on in their field, or where they use English, where exactly they use English. So if they tell me they need it for a presentation, okay, but what kind of presentation? What part of the presentation are you worried about? Where exactly do you need the help? So I'm not teaching them their medical or their scientific knowledge, because they know their profession. I'm just helping them with what they need, maybe some of the pronunciation or the small talk, but around always the English that they need around where they really can use it in their field.
Perfect. Okay. So when it comes to other teachers, people who are doing something similar, but not obviously not exactly what you do, because you serve a very specific purpose. But what do you think more teachers knew who work with professionals, business professionals? What do you think they knew more about what their students really need?
Well, what they should know, do you mean, or what
they wish? I'm sorry, I worded that incorrectly. What do you wish they knew? Okay. What do you think more teachers? Okay. What do you wish more teachers knew about what their students need?
Right. Yeah. I think they don't get, this is the problem when we have to follow a syllabus. Well, in the past, speaking for myself, or general teachers, often you have to follow the syllabus, the curriculum, or you have to finish a book in a certain amount of hours. So you really don't have a lot of time to get to know what their personal needs are. Yeah. So I wish that, yes, that they could have this opportunity to really delve a bit deeper. Having said this, it's difficult when everybody you teach is from a different background, a different professional background. So yes, it's really, I think this is what I wish they knew a bit more. If they could focus more on one field and then learn, like over the last couple of years, I felt I've learned so much from people, also by reading articles, by really reading how they need to communicate, the active listening. There's so much more to it than, depending on the role or the field that they're in, which many general English teachers perhaps don't have the opportunity to delve deeper into this.
Yeah, and if I could just piggyback off that answer a little, because it's really fascinating to me, because I don't know anything about pharmaceuticals or about the industry or whatnot, but I do know teaching, and I work with adults, and I work mostly right now, like the two adult clients I have right now. One is in an industry I also don't know anything about, and the other actually works in like entertainment, but it's for like a production company. For both of us, I don't talk about their industry at all. I just help them sort of like navigate the intricacies of English. And before we start every lesson, we don't know what's going to happen, and we always end up in like an area or having a discussion about something that we didn't think we'd be talking about, but they always walk away knowing a lot more.
Right.
Is it similar for you? Or like you said, you don't have to know everything about pharmaceuticals, but you mentioned that sort of being free from a syllabus is liberating.
Yes.
But at the same time, you do want to solve specific problems for your students, and you want to give them like a roadmap towards an urgent need, like solving an urgent need of theirs. And are you able to sort of expand upon how you do that for your students and what that process is like?
I guess when I was building the program, even now actually, I spend usually about half an hour. I jump on a call with them And I have certain questions I ask them about their problems, their goals, and their, how they would like to reach their goals. And this really helps to give me a picture of what they need. I mean, I had some ideas really that we build on the foundation. So we really build on what they already have. So yes, we focus on maybe the vocabulary and some of these aspects that are needed in the business world, but maybe more so in the pharmaceutical environment, in the global team meetings. But it's really a lot of the English that that natives would use more often. So not so much what they may find in all of the textbooks. So it's very condensed into what they need. So it's not hundreds of pages or hundreds of words to learn. It's quite select. And yes, we have some sort of basis to go on, and then we work on other aspects they may need. But this has all been built, really constructed. It's quite free to be tailored, but as I'm working with people who are very similar, I feel like I'm all kind of like the doctor, that I know what they need when they come to me. So they tell me they have the same problems, a lot of them, because they all have a similar role.
Great. All right. I'm just going to actually do one quick thing here, which is I want to see myself as the active speaker when I'm speaking. Yeah, for
Yes.
recording purposes. I may have to pay for that later. Sorry about that. But no, that's a wonderful answer, and it's also something that it sounds like a lot of the groundwork is laid on that initial strategy session with you and the students.
It was initially. It really helped to set me up and to set the program. Now that I feel confident with my program, okay, there's always room for some tweaking and making it better and updating it, because I always ask for their feedback after. But really, thanks to the clients, I've learned from them what they need. And so I've built this program for them, from them, if that makes sense. So it's like a cycle. It's been really sort of beneficial for me working with the same people, but hopefully also for them, because I know what they need from previous clients. So win-win, hopefully, situation.
That's fantastic. Yeah. All right. So do you think more teachers should do what you're doing and branch off on their own? And why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, absolutely. If they want to grow, I think if they want to scale and grow, and perhaps if they want to be more recognized as perhaps more of a specialized teacher or coach, then they should perhaps try this branching off on their own, maybe focusing on one niche at least, or perhaps can be speakers of a certain country. It doesn't have to be a professional field. It could be, for example, Spanish speakers, or all varieties of ways to perhaps niche it down a bit so that they can really be seen as more of a specialized teacher. But then again, having said that, there were also great elements of working as a general teacher. You meet so many different people from different backgrounds. So I'm not knocking that either at all. I met so many interesting, fascinating, and amazing people there. But perhaps if they want to branch off on their own, it could be that this is one way to try and do it, to become a niche teacher.
What's been most fulfilling to you since branching off on your own, and versus working? I believe you worked within an organization before this.
Yes. For many years, I was with, yes. So what's the most rewarding, did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, fulfilling, rewarding.
Fulfilling. Yeah, I mean, it's many aspects. I mean, I suppose because when I worked with an organization before, I got to know, I always put everything I could into each of my students, but then suddenly, unexpectedly, I may have been taken away from working with that student. This time, everything I build up and build towards working with a client, even the program, I've written all of it myself. I know I give 100% to my clients, clients now, because they're very high professionals, so I call them clients. And it's really extremely rewarding to see how they appreciate this, and they tell me how it's helping them. They're implementing what I'm offering, I'm giving them and teaching them in their daily lives. I think what they tell me, it's working. So this is extremely rewarding, and also the fact that it's all I've created this. It's my own business.
That's been, I mean, if I had, to say one thing, it's that's the fact that when you're building something that's your own, and you see, that's when you see the progress in your students, you know that's because of you. and you feel like you're putting out your work into the world in such a positive way. And it sounds like you feel pretty similar.
Yes, no, it's an incredible feeling. It's true to see the results and to see the satisfaction. And yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it's worth it.
Definitely. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about, again, how you started. Like you went into detail about that, the 21-day teacher challenge, and how beneficial that was to you, to branching off on your own. But can you go into more detail about, like, how did you get your first 10 clients or 10 students, right? And what were the challenges that you faced along the way? And then after 10, I don't know how many you have now, but like, how'd you get your next 10? And what sort of challenges did you face as you were getting more? And can you talk about what that experience was like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's certainly not all plain sailing, and there have been the ups and downs, definitely. And it's not easy at the beginning. I think one of the biggest challenges for us as teachers at the beginning is everything that's not teaching, basically. So this is where the 21-day challenge helps a lot. And we do have to really work on our mindset, our marketing skills, the sales skills, because we're teachers, we want to help everybody. So this was one of my personal not problems, but I suppose issues at the beginning, was that I was saying yes to too many people, and they were not, okay, they were in the medical field, so it was a very wide net, but everybody needed something slightly different, or they were a different level. So I ended up writing all of these little mini programs for everybody, which was a lot of hard work, and I was still keeping my prices quite low, and I ended up burning out. Basically, I was doing too many. People were approaching me, but it was, yes, I think there was a lot of also the trust to build up. So the first few strategy sessions were just about testing the water, for me to learn how to do it, and also to learn more about your niche. You also have to use the strategy sessions to learn about your niche, I think, too, quite a lot. But yes, and I think it all fell into place about 6 months later. After that, I was getting clients, but they were perhaps not exactly, I was going a bit too much with the general English still. But yeah, and then it sort of falls into place. I think 6 months later for me was when it started to go
like once you
smoothly.
niched down, it sounds like once you actually found a specialization, you were far more successful.
Yes, I mean, exactly. I had to widen the net to actually close the net slightly, if that makes sense, because I started working with medical, because I was always fascinated. I love the medical field. I don't have medical background, as I said, but I wanted to help doctors, people who help other people. So I thought I'll try and work with doctors, and I did start working with a surgeon, an anesthetist, a couple of other people actually working in the hospitals. And then I think COVID kind of that was their priority. So they ended up, probably English wasn't a priority. And I kind of widened my net a little, and people were contacting me from the pharmaceutical world. So this is where I realized that I was being sort of accidentally shifted into this world, because they needed it more in the business world. So this is how I ended up.
Yeah. What was the most effective method for reaching out to people? Did you use paid advertising? Was it just direct messaging? And what did you find was was best for you when it came to, not just spreading the word or market, whatever you want to call it, but I mean, getting the word out? What did you find was the best way for you to attract clients to you?
Well, this seems to be an ever-changing world, because it's predominantly through LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn. I haven't done any paid ads yet. I'm seriously looking into it, thinking about it soon. But I've always just used the organic marketing, so direct messages. LinkedIn has changed a lot of with the algorithms since I started, so it's a little bit different to when we first started out. But it does seem to work. I mean, I send the messages. I post pretty much every day on LinkedIn. So I am on LinkedIn. I'm not on many other social media platforms. I am, but not so actively, let's say. So yes, I post every day on LinkedIn. And so then I have people also contacting me. And I do send some invites, connection invites, just to keep it going. But I have about just over 1,000 connections on there at the moment. And yeah, hoping to grow from there too still.
Sure. Was writing content something that came natural to you?
I don't mind this part, actually. Yes, I like it. There are a lot of the teachers in the challenge or in the group that hate this part, to be honest. I know there are many that do not like
too, yeah.
You're not alone. Definitely
Right,
not alone.
right.
I like it. I mean, if I'm just like I'm not totally organized with it, so I should be. That's probably my problem. I like Sunday morning, I like sitting on the sofa and just have a few ideas. Canva, I make some posts on Canva, write something on Google Docs, and then just post it during the week. So most days I post something, but for me, it's probably the analytical side and the keeping track of all of this type of thing. I'm not so good at which I don't think maybe I should do more of this if I go into the paid ads and the email marketing.
Right.
But
you mean like different types of content, like, how many I send out that is more like educational? Is that what you're referring to? Like,
I just
know
do
that
it off the top of my head, really. But analytical, really, I suppose, like how many, when I get a bit deeper, I guess, like clicks, how many clicks per, analyzing all of with the Facebook marketing and the KPIs, keeping track of everything. All of this, I'm not a big fan of, but
it feels like everything's got to be tracked, but it also it feels harder to know like what are actual important metrics.
Right. Yes. To me, it feels like a bit of a waste of time. So I just go by what apparently it's not, because I know if we set up or if we grow, rather, if we get into, have other people working for us, then that's when it's more useful. But it's always worked.
And the other thing I found was really challenging for me when it comes to writing content is keeping it in my own voice. And I find that when I'm writing something and I'm trying to sound like something else, it never goes well. And so being able to speak in a tone that I know is mine and speak in a voice that I know is mine has been the most challenging part for me, but it sounds like it comes a little more easier to you.
I think it's something you can get used to as well, perhaps, because the consistency, I would say, is one of the most important things, something that's really has paid off for me, because you don't get a lot of likes or comments all the time, but the views are generally quite high. And then I've had I think 99% of my clients are people who have never liked or never commented on my posts. But when I get to speak to them on the call, on the strategy session, they usually say, I was following your posts. I find them really intriguing. And I look back to when we connected, and maybe it was 6 months ago. So it's really the nurturing. It is important. So I just keep going and hope for the best. But
you're consistent.
Yeah, I try to be in that
That's
side
wonderful.
at least. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything else you'd like to share?
Well, no, I think you've covered it all very well. I think if anyone is thinking of setting up alone, speaking for the teachers, then I would recommend James's 21-day challenge, because it really pushes you to do this step by step. Every day you have another step. I would never be where I am now if it wasn't for James. So yes, definitely that's a big piece of advice. So went well, yes. Thanks to James. I think for the clients or the students, I would also recommend looking for a niche teacher or a niche language coach, because I think they really get to know your niche well. They understand your field, and they hopefully can really help you because they've worked with other people in more or less the same situation. So I think it's a win-win situation, really.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, this has been really wonderful, Nicola, and I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for giving me your time and having this discussion. It's been wonderful.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you as well, Harry.
All right. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Okay. Goodbye.
All right. See you.
Bye. See you.
Here are some takeaways I got from talking with Nicola. Number one, I think the best English teachers aren't showering their students with praise. I think that, especially when we work at a high level, we want to make sure that we're invested in our students' success, that we're pushing them to succeed, that we're really trying to get them to struggle and work hard to push through a difficult problem, because we know that's where confidence really lies. When you can work hard to overcome something, you come out of that feeling confident because you did it. So I think Nicola, it sounds like she does a great job doing this in her English teaching business. Another thing I took away from talking with Nicola is how she found it very freeing to be rid of like having to be committed to a curriculum or like a course syllabus. And the truth is, these things can be very good foundations for teaching, but the truth is that every student is different, right? We're going to be teaching people who all have different needs, all have different things that they're struggling with. And Nicola, in her individual teaching business, she's able to dive deep into what a particular student, what a particular client of hers is trying to get better at or trying to work through. So I think that that's the big difference between when you work for an academy or like a large teaching institution and you're just one of the staff teachers, is that you're very committed to actually having to follow the curriculum or follow the course syllabus. But when you work for yourself, and when you work one-on-one with clients, you have such a great opportunity to, focus and dive deep on what your particular student needs. It sounds like Nicola does that extremely well, which is awesome. Another big takeaway is that in order to niche down, it's really important to start wide, right? So Nicola, at first, it sounds like she cast a wide net, but then she just kept narrowing it down until she found like a specific niche that she knew she was confident she could help. So she doesn't say yes to everyone, right? Like she's very focused, but that's because she worked really hard to find a niche that she, has the confidence now that she is uniquely suited to help. So that's something I think we can all take away for our teaching business. Another big takeaway was how just be consistent with your content, right? Nicola gets content out a lot. I follow her on LinkedIn. I'm always reading her content. It's always really great. But for me personally, it's like I'm a little freaked out about writing content, I'm freaked out about am I writing in my own voice? I try too hard to sound real, but I'm anxious about sounding fake. So it's a big mess. But to hear her say it, like she actually enjoys that part. She sits down on the sofa, she lets her ideas fly, and she gets stuff out there, and she's just consistent. And that's the other big thing, is that because she gets content out so regularly, right? She has people who come to her, she has clients that she works with, and they tell her like, yeah, I've been reading your content for months. But then she'll find out that like they never liked or commented on anything. So even though these people weren't necessarily responding to her content, she was still consistent enough, and these people were reading it, and she didn't know until they came towards her. So don't be so discouraged, it sounds like, if your content or if the stuff you're putting out there is not getting likes or comments. People are probably still reading them if you're putting them out there in the right places. Also, if you're a student and you have a specific need and like you have a specific thing you're trying to work through, it's always great to be really specific about what your goals are, and then find a teacher who you feel confident is uniquely suited to help you solve your problems and achieve your goals. So the better you're able to communicate your goals, the better you're able to communicate what you want to achieve and where you want to go, the more you'll be able to find a teacher who can help you get there. All right, that's all for me. To learn more about Nicola's teaching business, you can check out the link in the description below. My name is Harry. I'm with Harry's English Academy. Thank you so much for watching.